Yesterday, the Browns hired Andy Dickerson as their new offensive line coach. He was their first candidate for the offensive coordinator position.
Yep.
And, Bull, I think you were the one – it was either you or Jason. One of you two alluded to the fact that, well, hey, Brian Callahan may get a head coaching job. That means Bill may leave. Maybe this was a preview for the OL position if it opens up. You turned out to be spot on. What do you make of the hire? It's impossible to replace a legend like Callahan, but
what was he?
He was the Seahawks offensive line coach.
Okay.
So I don't think they were, whatever. Listen, I hope he does a good job. He has only been a head position coach for 2 years.
He played O-line where?
Tufts
D3,
College.
Boston.
D3. He's a D3 guy.
Those usually be the best ones, too. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
They usually grow up to be great coaches.
I like his hair. He's got good hair. I mean, like that.
When you look at his resume, I mean, you think about the Rams, obviously he worked with Sean McVay.
What was he there, Mike? Like the assistant offensive line coach?
When he was with the Rams?
Yeah.
He was their running game coordinator for a sec. I'll pull up the exact Wikipedia.
Oh, that's great.
He's been coaching a while.
They need that.
Listen, nobody's going to be as good as Bill Callahan.
He was the assistant offensive line coach in St. Louis and also had some hand in the run game. He was also the Seahawks run game coordinator. One stat for you guys. This is the one thing I was able to find. Shout out to Mac the Buffalo on Twitter for this one. But the Seahawks had 9 different offensive linemen last season play at least 200 snaps. So another injured offensive line just like the Browns. They allowed the 10th fewest sacks in the NFL. So we had a lot of guys who were not necessarily stars come in and be relatively productive.
And how much that's because of him or not, who the hell knows?
Well,
seems like a perfectly acceptable choice.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he was under Sean McVay, who's a great offensive mind. He studied the game. He knows the run game. You need an offensive line coach. It's not like there's any offensive line coaches out there that's like, oh, we got to have him.
Right.
He's a game changer. So, when it comes to that, he got big shoes to fill. It's going to be tough to do, but I like the fact that he has an offensive mind. I think that's ultimately goes back to the Kevin Stefanski. You got Tommy Reese, you got Ken Dorsey, you got Kevin Stefanski, and you got this guy. You got 4 good offensive minds, or a guy who's worked under a really good offensive-minded coach in Sean McVay. He could bring some of that run game tendencies in there and help Nick Chubb and the rest of that committee get back to where they supposed to be. So I think it's a respectable hire, and I think it's the best you was going to be able to do in this situation now that coaches have been hired.
Who's the lighter-skinned guy from Kid and Play? Does anybody remember?
Kid?
From what?
Kid and Play. You don't know Kid and Play?
Yeah, Kid.
No, I just didn't hear you. Kid and Play.
Is Kid the lighter-skinned guy?
Yeah, Kid.
Andy Dickerson looks like if Seth Rogen and Kid from Kid and Play had a kid.
God.
If Kid from Kid and Play and Seth Rogen had a kid, it would be Andy Dickerson. There you go.
Kind of looks like Bob Ross if Bob Ross ate another version
Or maybe
of
Bob Ross. He's got a little Bob Ross hair
He does have
going.
the Bob Ross hair.
What do you think, Jason? Excited?
You're demented. That's what I think.
True. That's fair.
It's funny because it is true. Like, it does look like that.
I was just trying to look it up real quick. Is Chad O'Shea the only position coach returning the receiver? I mean, Callie's on staff too.
Yeah, well, she's the assistant. I was just going to say, that's the big takeaway. First of all, he's the first coach they've hired now that doesn't have NFL experience in terms of playing. The first of all the coaches they've hired here. But if you look at, they also hired, I don't know his name, but the Eagles.
His name is, and I'll tell you guys right now, it's Roy Ivastin.
He was the Eagles' assistant offensive line coach. He's going to be this guy's assistant offensive line coach. So if you look at the position, the offensive coordinator, the position coaches, and even the assistant position coaches, I believe that Chad O'Shea and Kelly Brownson, who are the wide receiver and assistant wide receiver coach, are the only returners, I believe, on offense.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Maybe that was there an assistant running back coach? I don't know.
Go through it real quick. Offensive line coach gone. Tight ends coach T.C. McCartney gone. Offensive coordinator gone. Running backs coach gone. Receivers coach is still there.
Right.
Yeah, so he is. Yeah, he's the only
right,
one.
but even the assistants, like, because the guy who was Bill Callahan's assistant went to New England.
Scott Peters.
So anyway,
that is an overhaul. That is a massive overhaul.
That didn't seem necessary.
I didn't see it coming.
Nobody did.
I didn't see that coming.
Nobody did. Given what you had and then the season that you had and made, like, why would you think?
Yeah.
What did they finish offensively ranked? Like, total
Steve, pull up 8.
I
mean, it just depends on what metric you look at. These are the basic.
Yeah. I mean, some of these ranks
stats. They were 10th in points, 19th in passing yards, 12th in rushing yards. They led the league in turnovers. So
I mean, the turnovers were terrible.
Those
given other numbers, I mean, I don't know if you can go. I don't think those are the best statistics to determine how good you are.
Given what you had, I mean, the turnover thing, that's not.
But like they were kind of middle of the road offensively, considering the injuries.
Have they ever been like really explosive like that offensively?
What do you mean, like they were this at the end of the year?
Like
the year with Derek Anderson.
No. No, I'm talking since Kevin Stefanski's been the coach.
I mean,
have we been like a top 10, top 5 offense?
I don't think. No. But
so that's probably
the back half of the 2020 season with Baker. The offense was really good. That second half of the year, maybe more like almost. It was half, really the second half, including the playoffs.
So maybe
the offense was really good.
If a lot of contracts was expiring this year, right, coaches? So they probably it ran its course. We didn't see anything.
I mean, listen, it is what it is, and obviously the offensive line changes had nothing to do with the organization,
right?
Yes. But it's interesting. And what's funny is the only coach that's not gone is Chad O'Shea, and you could argue that's been the most disappointing position on offense.
Yeah.
Well, the crazy part is that what's the DB's coach? Jackson is his name?
I have no idea.
He was about to he got looked at for a D coordinator job or something like that, which is crazy because I don't feel like he's been here that long.
Your defensive backs coach, your linebacker coach, and your wide receiver coach are the only 3 returning position coaches on this team.
Well, they couldn't afford to lose a DB coach. I think he's doing a really good job.
Yeah. So anyway, we don't know enough about Dickerson. Who knows? But he seems like a perfectly reasonable hire.
Well, let's call a spade a spade. We won't know Andy Dickerson until we see them play. If offensive line gets completely destroyed, then we know he's not great and we'll criticize him. It's like this situation for him, for Andy Dickerson, is kind of not fair. It's like Jed Wills filling in for Joe Thomas. It's like Bill Callahan was here, and now you got to try to replace him, and we expect you to have them there, and I don't know if it's realistic to ask those things.
Right. If any of the veterans struggle, we're going to blame him, which is probably unfair.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his one thing is if he can get Jed Wills to play better, then he'll get a win for that because Jed Wills.
Well, Jed Wills was playing decent ball before he went out.
He was playing better.
Yes.
But if he can become
what you call it?
Average.
He's playing average by the end of the year.
Then I had to break up with him after the second week.
Wait, I got a question real quick. I guess I had thought of this, but I didn't really think about this. Jack Conklin is expected to be a full recovery participant on the roster next year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have 3 starting tackles.
Yes.
What the heck are you going to do?
What are you talking about? We talked about this. I said they're going to make Dwan Jones become a left tackle, and then they're going to end up making Jed Wills be a swing guy.
Do we think there's any chance they could trade Jack Conklin? Probably not, right?
Not with that contract.
No. They're getting like $20 million.
Would they have to eat some of the money? Could you trade him and eat some of the money?
That's a baseball
why wouldn't you
thing,
trade Jed Wills? You'd probably get more for him.
Yeah, I think you want
more.
More
But you'd
good
rather get
tackles
rid of
than
Conklin's
less.
contract.
But the dead money on it, I haven't looked, but I would imagine it would be.
It was like 16 or 18 million.
I gotta tell you, overall, I think with extensions, Andrew Berry's done a good job. But that one, even at the time,
we were talking like he was going to retire.
Right.
We say that 3 years.
He's going to come back next year and have an all-pro
listen, we didn't. I know I didn't love the Njoku contract at the time, and obviously now it looks good.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it like this one.
The dead money's crazy too, Jason.
I told you.
Is it?
It's like 18 or 20 million.
This year, his dead money's 27.5.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So you're saying if they cut him, there'd be 27 million in dead money. So they can't cut him.
His cap hit to keep him is 12 million. To cut him is 27.
Yeah. So what about if they cut him after the 24 season?
14.5.
14.5 dead?
Dead.
And how much from the play?
19.
Check the post-June 1.
Yeah. Post June. Yeah. Dead money and cap savings. Yeah.
Post June 1 for 25.
What was
10
Dwan's
million
injury this year?
Knee.
They'll save.
ACL?
They would lose $15 million if they cut him before the start of next season.
I don't remember.
They'd save $5 million if they cut him after the season before 2025. They'd save $10 million if they cut him after
they'll cut him at some point
before
next year if he,
2026.
I'm sorry, before the 25 season, probably, and eat some money, but they can't eat 27 million.
If that's the case, then if they cutting him next year, then that means that they paying Jed Wills?
Yeah, I think they're going to pay Jed Wills.
To play left or right?
It's a good question.
Well, Jed was a right in college. They moved him to left. Dwan was right in college. So you want to move Dwan to left
And put Jed back at right.
and put Jed back at right?
if everybody's healthy.
Because from a size-wise,
He's ideal.
exactly. But it's hard. It's hard as heck.
I'm not
to
moving.
switch.
I'm not moving Jones to left tackle.
Okay.
I'm with you.
I'm not doing
I think I would leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
with where he is.
What's your best guess?
To what?
Let's say they're all healthy and nobody gets traded.
Who's gonna play?
Who's not playing of the three?
I
I mean, it's tough.
Well, it would be between Jack and Dwan. If neither one of them can play left, you can't tell them to
Jed's
go play.
playing left tackle.
That's what I'm saying. If Jed's playing left, now
I
you're
mean,
talking.
does that mean Dwan Jones is on the bench?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
I think so. I think it is.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now, it would only be 1 year, probably, because you'd probably, based on the numbers you gave, I think they'd be able to cut after June 1st Conklin in the 25 season. Then you'd take a hit.
To be fair, you get a good offensive lineman, you want to secure that. They didn't know they was going to land Dwan Jones in the fourth round. He was going to be
it's
good.
not about Dwan Jones, Tyvis. It's about that he's been hurt so much.
But he's been so good when he's played.
So, Jack's probably going to get hurt again.
Probably.
So Dwan
y'all
would
got
be
to
good
cut that
backup.
out. Y'all got to cut that out.
Well, I'm serious. Like
You're probably right.
When you look at the injury, I'm not wishing it on him. He's a great guy, but I'm just saying, like with that injury history, you have to be aware of that. But I would kind of worry. Do you know Dwan at all? A little bit. I just wonder about like, hey, you played great last year. We love you. We believe in you. Now go sit on the bench. What's that going to do to him?
Tough.
What's that going to do to him?
That's got to be tough.
I'll tell you what.
When the flag on him coming in was maturity.
That's what I was
issues.
about to say. The thing about Dwan at Ohio State, when I go back and talk to them, is it's never been on the field with him. He's great on the field. It's the off the field stuff with him, and it's maturity and taking care of your body and stuff like that. He struggled with doing that. So that's why I was like, him coming here was great being under Bill, because Bill's going to whip somebody into shape. And now that he's gone, and you might put him back on the bench,
I wonder if
it's hard to think that you'd be foolish not to think that this guy can get disinterested and go back to 400 pounds, because he's like, I ain't playing nowhere.
Is it crazy to think? I know this is very uncommon on offensive line. Is it crazy to think, to keep them both healthy, that you rotate them a little bit?
I mean,
if you rotate them, you'll keep them healthy.
Yeah, you're more likely.
They did it with
James Hudson.
Thank you.
Yeah,
with
Hudson
and Dwan run pass plays.
Which I did. It was something I never seen. I've been playing football since 9 years old. I've never seen rotated tackle.
It's so weird, though, because like defensive linemen change all the time.
That's different.
Why can't you? But why?
The energy. You answer. You know.
It's a rhythm thing, and and it's chemistry thing. Like
No, I get
and
the
that's
chemistry part.
Really a big part of it. When you get that, you and that guard is on the same page. You see why when somebody go down, they struggle right off the bat. Like, for example, when Jack Conklin went down, Wyatt Teller's production went down because he had to spend a whole game trying to make sure Dwan was good.
I hear you.
It's a chemistry thing, and then at tackle, it's just a feel. It's the same reason why it's hard to go from right to left. Like, you so used to that technique that you trying to switch it up, and it's just not the same feeling. It take a while to get it.
And plus,